There used to be a phase in life that felt very in between, being that strange area during adolescence when you're too old to be considered a child, but also too young to be considered a teenager. It was a very awkward and confusing time for a lot of us, but it was also very transformative. But nowadays, with the epidemic of younger kids acting a lot older than they should be, it feels like that phase in life is slowly starting to fade away. Wanting to grow up faster at such a young age was never a new thing. As children, there was always a desire to emulate the same aesthetic as adults and teens, because those were essentially the people we would look up to as children. This desire was also portrayed in a lot of media we would see, such as movies like 13 Going on 30, where Jennifer Garner would wake up as a full-grown adult because that was something she thought she wanted as a child. All in all, the preteen years were very formative, especially with finding your sense of identity. And Dr. Guo, who's a psychology professor at Berry College, was able to give us a little bit more insight into this.
The term tween is more of a colloquial term, and from what I understand, it does refer to that pre-adolescent developmental period. We call it pre-adolescence, which is before adolescence, in between childhood and adolescence. And really, that transition is about becoming more independent. And so tweens, as they say, are trying to maybe push boundaries a little bit, especially with their parents, seeing what they might be able to get away with, trying out some different potentially risky behaviors. Just really, trying to sort of come into themselves.
The issue that we're facing today, though, is not necessarily that kids want to be adults, but rather that they're consuming content that's made for adults online. Because of this, instead of wanting things like toys or games for Christmas, we're now seeing 10 to 12-year-olds ask for stuff like $90 retinol creams from Sephora. At the same time, the world that once existed for preteens, which was mainly residing inside malls and storefronts, is starting to shrink, since the market catering specifically towards that demographic isn't as strong as it was in the past. Stores like Claire's and Justice used to create a space for young girls in that age range, but now that we're seeing the shift in consumer culture amongst tweens, a lot of these stores are going out of business or closing a bunch of locations worldwide. Even then, the preteens that continue to shop at places like Claire's are getting products that reflect a little bit more of a mature image. Shania Keys, who is the manager of Claire's in the Rome area, talked a little bit about how most customers aged 10 through 12 are getting cosmetics that are more geared towards an older age range.
Have younger cosmetics and older, but everybody's just getting the older stuff. But it kind of makes sense because a lot of kids nowadays, they want to see themselves as more mature and more independent. It's like them buying the stuff that's meant for adults isn't even surprising anymore.
Part of the issue for why we're seeing a lot of these retailers shut down is because most of these stores are mainly sold a lot of little knickknacks, accessories, and toys. And in today's day and age, that type of stuff really doesn't resonate with preteens. However, Shania was able to offer a completely different perspective to this, saying how viral items that kids see online are actually bringing more traffic into the store than less.
It's like a lot of the product and stuff we get is based off what's trending. So think the slimes, Neatos, the whole beauty care set, skincare things. We started getting all of that the second TikTok said it was important and we had people asking about it.
So with that being said, is tween culture truly dying, or is it just taking on a new form? We all grow up differently and are all subject to our own unique experiences during adolescence, and maybe the shift we're seeing is just a change in spaces with social media being the main driver. So it's not necessarily that the stage in life is disappearing, but it may be reshaped as the digital world continues to evolve.